In the name of the one true God, the Holy and Blessed Trinity, known to us as the Creator, the Redeemer, and the Sanctifier of the world. Amen. Today, the third Sunday of Advent, is known as Gaudete Sunday, a Latin word which means rejoice. It gains its name from the opening Latin words of the Mass on this day. Now, I apologise immediately to all of you who learnt Latin at school. I did not. And my pronunciation stems entirely from Maddie Pryor and Steele Span, who, in my humble opinion, have the best version of Gaudete that you can listen to on the internet. Go home, search it. Steele Span, Gaudete. The opening words of the Mass in Latin: Gaudete, Gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine Gaudete. Rejoice, rejoice, Christ is born. Of the Virgin Mary, rejoice. This is good news for all the ages. And the reason I love the Steele Span version of it is a rendition full of absolute joy. It's why today we light a rose-coloured candle on our Advent wreath. A reminder that this is a day where our reflection turns to joy. And what is it that we are to be joyful about? We are to be joyful that Christ is born. So I've been pondering this week Gaudete. And I've been watching lots of pictures of my colleagues putting up their rose-coloured vestments in anticipation for this Sunday. And it made me wonder about the word Gaudete, because for me it sounds incredibly like the English word gaudy. And it's a long way to travel from Gaudete, meaning rejoice, to gaudy, which is something which is flashy or over the top. You know I love words, so what did I do? I looked it up. And indeed, gaudy originally does have its origins in the word gaudete. It's a long stretch, but it comes from a prayer bead, a large ornamental prayer bead in a rosary, often green, called the gaudi or the goud bead, which introduces the beads which are the decade of the joyful mysteries. And the joyful mysteries are the mysteries associated with the birth of Christ and Christ's life. It makes sense then, and it's not so far to travel when we understand that this ornamental, this large bead, originally starting as an aid to prayer, then over centuries turns into a word that means over the top, flashy. But let's go back to that Gaudi again, because in the late 16th century, around the 1580s, the word changes its meaning slightly. Well, not so much slightly, changes its meaning to mean deceptive or trickery. I think that has a lot to do with the Protestant Reformation, that this bead, which introduces reflection on the mysteries of Christ's life, is actually referring to a practice or a devotion to praying the rosary, which some criticised as being all about trickery, all about deception. It's not a far stretch of the imagination to think that might be the case. But that made me think, what is it to be deceived? What is it to be tricked? And what is it in the context of this Sunday to contemplate what holy trickery, holy deception might look like? We think of trickery and deception as something in which someone tells a lie to us. But what if we looked at it differently? What if we looked at it in the understanding that when a trick is played, we believe a false set of assumptions, and then the truth is revealed? That's what a trick is. Believing a false set of assumptions, and then truth is revealed. And in that light, when we think about the mysteries of Christ's life, when we think about the mystery of the incarnation itself, as we proclaim in the Magnificat, and sorry, Anne, evensong just carried me away because we sing the Magnificat at evensong every Sunday night, and that's why I was responding and not in alternate verses. When we think about the mystery of the incarnation, isn't that, in a sense, a most glorious holy trick? That a virgin should conceive and bear a child, that this child should be both fully human and fully divine. Not a trick in the sense of we've been fooled, but Christ indeed comes as holy fool. But a trick in the sense that our assumptions are challenged. John's disciples go to Jesus when John's in prison. Their world is suddenly looking very shaky, and they need to make sure they've got it right. So they go to Jesus and they say, John wants to know, are you the one? And Jesus says, well, what do you see? The lame walk, the blind see, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have good news proclaimed to them. This is a reversal of assumptions. This is a challenge, and this is no magician's trick. This is holy healing. This is the work, the challenge of God, alive and active in the world. And this is gaudete. This is cause for rejoicing. That's what Jesus tells John's disciples. Look around you. What do you see? Joy. This is a reversal too of the understanding of what the Messiah should look like, that the Messiah should be someone who comes with a sword, bearing vengeance, a powerful warrior king. This is someone who comes in the frailty of human flesh, fully human, fully divine. Someone who is not unaware of the suffering of the poor, the lame, the blind, the deaf. Someone who is not unaware of what it is to die. If this is holy trickery, then this is a source of rejoicing. For in this our assumptions are challenged. For Christ, born of the Virgin Mary, challenges the assumptions of the world and overturns them in the same way we celebrate at Mardi Gras, in the same way we celebrate at times throughout the year. This is holy joy. And for this, that Christ is born, we rejoice now and always. Amen.